Will Atlantis reappear? Okay, first of all, I'm using this picture for Atlantis because most of the pictures we see regarding Atlantis are usually beautiful green Hawaiian mountains, beautiful tropical beaches, some underwater temples with dolphins swimming around them. Atlantis was an empire. You do not have an empire around underwater temples. Atlantis was a lot more like this image than the beautiful Hawaiian mountains. I'm sure it also had mountains, but many times we are in denial of the machine that gets everything running. And we simply go into these beautiful images and we say, oh, this was Atlantis, and I used to live in Atlantis, and I was a priestess in Atlantis. Get over yourself. Now, will Atlantis reappear? The biggest reason we cannot see Atlantis right now, or we have not found any ruins of Atlantis, is because Atlantis was in a different vibration. It was in the high octaves of the fourth dimension. We are now living in the third dimension and heading towards the fifth. The fourth dimension is just like the third, however, we know a lot more. We are more aware. We know we are not just our bodies. We know we have lived forever. We know we come back to earth again and again. We know there are other realities that influence this reality, and that we can access those realities and get information from them. We know we also exist in those realities, and that we can access those other parts of ourselves and get information from them. This is the fourth dimension. So Atlantis was, I don't know if it actually reached the fifth. Maybe it did. I'm not sure. I have not seen any images of it, but just because I haven't seen it, it doesn't mean it hasn't happened. I usually, when I take clients back, if they have some unfinished business from Atlantis, I see the fourth dimensional Atlantis. So because it was vibrating at a much higher vibration, this is the reason we have not found any ruins yet. As we raise our vibration as well, then we will find Atlantis, or at least parts of Atlantis. Remember, Atlantis was around for a very long time. It had many outposts, what some people call colonies. So we might find something in a part of the world where Atlantis was not, but it might be Atlantean. And we might say, this is where Atlantis was. Here is the proof. This is Atlantean. But it might simply be an outpost. Let's give a little example. Let's say the world was destroyed tomorrow, completely. The ones that survived went into the caves until they start rebuilding and creating an organized society again. It will take a few generations. They will forget. And let's say 12,000 years from now, they are in New Zealand and something surfaces, written in English. They will say, we found England. Look, it's in English. So this is proof this is where England was. We know England was an island. This is an island. It's something like that. And New Zealand could not be any further away from England. what I mean is you could not get any further away from England than New Zealand. So this is what's going to happen also as we discover ruins of Atlantis. We're going to discover them all over the world, because Atlanteans had gone all over the world. Now, whether it will reappear to us the way it was before the destruction, I really don't think so. I could be wrong, but I really don't think so. For that, we would have to go back in time. Once we learn to time travel, then we can go to the Atlantis before the destruction. Another thing, at this time of our history, we are very close to where we were before we sank Atlantis. What really sank Atlantis was our separation. It was not the weapons and the crystals we used as weapons. The whole thing started because we that started knowing more and learning more separated ourselves from those who did not know. And after a few hundred years of doing this, we imbalanced the energy so much, and then we started with the weapons. Because imbalanced energy does bring destruction. There's nothing wrong with destruction. So let's not see it as we were bad then, because there are a lot of souls, if not all, that have reincarnated again now. And a lot of them are playing the same game, mostly out of sheer memory. So let's not judge, but let's try not to separate ourselves from the rest of the people simply because we know more. And this way we will not repeat the same mistake. But yes, we will find ruins of Atlantis. But you know what the thing is? We are going to find ruins soon of many, many past and ancient civilizations. The earth has had many civilizations on it. A lot of them did live underground. We will find them soon, simply because we are going to be in the same vibration they were in. They were in a higher vibration. They weren't in the same vibration we are at the moment. Remember, we can only see things that vibrate at the same frequency we vibrate in. And because our eyes right now can only see the third dimension and maybe the low octaves of the fourth, this is what we see when we find ancient structures. Very soon we will find a lot more, much, much more than Atlantis. But don't spend too much time romanticizing about Atlantis. It was not all good. Nothing is all good. Both exist at the same time. Accept the not so good as well, so you can see the bigger picture and so that you'll have more power once those times come back again. Because if you are in denial of your dark parts or of history, you are bound to repeat it. I think I will leave it at this.